This is Eric at Frog Valley Tropical Fruit Farm, and this is Florida Natural Farming. Today I'm going to talk about natural farming tropical fruit trees, multi-species, for fruit harvest year-round. So a lot of people plant these gardens because they're worried about food shortages. It's my little boy Romy. He's got 2-3 days off, and he was a little bad boy today, for as bad as he can be. Just a little stubborn, but he's so cute. So a lot of people plant fruit trees and different edible plants like pigeon pea and stuff in their yard for food security. It's a jackfruit tree that's started blooming when I tied my little bowl cap up to it, and it's blooming in multiple spots now, which is nice. That's a grafted tree called Orange Crush. So I figure we have about 200 different species of tropical fruit trees here. I don't concentrate on the numbers. I just try to plant what I like. This is a Hassia sapodilla, Chico Sapote, Miss Sparrow, and it's got quite a bit of fruit on it. It's finally getting big, and we grow everything naturally, so we don't have to worry about water, and we don't have to worry about insect pressures, because the plants in a functional farm system, a farm system where we look at the whole system approach to farming, not just our crop and one insect or one disease at a time. We focus on building the immunity of our soils and thereby boosting the plant immunity to handle abiotic and biotic stressors. So I've been getting some sugar apples off these trees lately. My partner loves them. These are the chewy green Nadai sugar apples. We also have the chewy red sugar apples. So I'm gonna go around and look at different fruit trees that we have fruit on that I've been harvesting or is getting close to harvest, and different fruit trees that we have planted here. And here's some longans and some bananas, and talk about how we plant them all together. So I don't pay attention to any rules for distance. There's a Floragon mango, and there's a Namdok Mai mango, and I don't see them flowering yet, so that's good. And I found that I put trees very close together with other plants. They seem to do better. And especially in a drought, or when you aren't watering and it's not hadn't rained in a few weeks or a week or 2 weeks. That used to be my biggest stress, was did I water the plants? And then once you start watering them, the plants get used to the water, and when you stop, they can die because they haven't built up a natural immunity to deal with the water stress. And those natural immunities are phytochemicals and microbiology in the soil, like fungi and bacteria that provide water. So if you're always giving your plant water, which you have to do when you're using salt-based fertilizers, you have to always water your plants, otherwise it'll burn the plants. Manure doesn't burn plants, not cow manure. It doesn't, it's a slow release fertilizer. And cow manure has been shown to be a nitrogen fixing input. So you can apply it once, and months later it can still be creating nitrogen, which is pretty amazing. I don't know You don't have to continuously apply it either. It's like once a year is what I try to do. So these are, this is a male Garcinia hombromiana tree, and it's getting quite large now. And this is a black sapote tree that does not have any fruit on it. A few of our black sapotes don't have any fruit on them. This is a jackfruit seedling that I'm trying to get to fruit. I mean, it's definitely big enough. This particular tree always gets affected by cold. I noticed that amber was more cold sensitive than other jackfruit trees. I'm not sure why that is. And we have some other stuff in here. Somebody asked if how do I get our custard apples to fruit, and our custard apples have not fruited yet. I have 2 custard apple trees. There's one right there. But they will. I'm not too worried about it. There's a Inga cinnamoniae, the Brazilian ice cream bean. And this is a Super Julie tree that's trying to swell, I see. I thought I had a little citrus right here. In fact, I know I do. It's right here. It's one of our Miko lemons. That's right. Poop right there, Romy. Little sweetie. So I'm going to go back and look at the Adamoyas in the back, but I'm also going to walk and look at some other fruit trees that have fruit on them, because that's what I have to do here. I kind of have to go all over the place and look for fruit that's ripe. Since we have so many trees and so many different trees, they all kind of are blooming at different times, and we get fruit year-round here. And what I do get year-round, other than fruit, are the fruit leaf teas. And those phytochemicals in the fruit leaf teas and the phytonutrients, this is a Trinitoro cacao. We have about 100 cacao seedlings planted now. This is one that I just planted, and you know, when I plant them, I don't water them in. Nothing has ever been watered in here when I plant, and I plant during drought. It's not a problem. When it would be a problem is if I removed all the weeds from around and grass from around this plant and then like mulched it, and then it would definitely die if I didn't water it. But I discovered that if you leave the roots in the ground and you plant the tree without any soil, so you remove the soil and I rinse the roots off before I plant it in rainwater, and then just put the shovel in and plant the cacao, that it will survive. So here's another one right here. This is a wild coffee from Florida. I planted seeds from our beach house here. I threw seeds. That's one came up. This is a little coffee tree my friend Scott gave me, Scott and Bill, and it's doing quite well. Planted it right next to the wild coffee. I'm gonna go look at this Garcinia madruno tree. So the fruit leaf teas, I feel, are like powerhouses of phytonutrients, and I did a 47 leaf tea and I'm still drinking it. I made it quite a bit of it, and I just feel so energetic after I drink that, and my highs went away. It cured my highs, the fruit leaf teas, highs I'd never had before. But since I had, that's a breadfruit tree, bread nut tree. There's a little cacao I just planted. These are all Trinitoro cacaos. I think I planted about 30 more. And it used to be when I planted the cacao and I dig the hole and then be careful to leave the soil with the plant that's with the tree, the soil that comes with the tree when you buy it, or the soil that's in the pot when I plant it. And I'd leave the soil in there and then plant them, and a lot of times the trees would die. This is because the soil in the pot is probably a different pH than the soil in the ground, and the soil in the pot buffers the microbiology that's in the soil in the ground from colonizing the root zone of the plant that you're planting. So when I realized that you need to remove the soil, which is what I had been doing with my aroids, and then my friend Dan and Sebastian told me, yes, remove the soil, they will survive. And I'm like, oh, why wasn't I doing that with the fruit trees? Thank you, Dan. Then I started doing it, and and voila, the fruit trees all survive. Here's a little cashew seedling. That's another Garcinia hambromiana, I think. Male tree. It does have red flowers on it, so I'm not positive that it's pure hambromiana. And the leaves are a little different. So these fruit leaf teas, I definitely use all the Garcinias. And then underneath it, I have a Garcinia madruno seedling and a Garcinia macrophylla seedling, and I'm not sure who that is. It's definitely not, it's not Garcinia, it might be Garcinia dulcis actually, but the leaves don't look long enough. But I plant them very close to the other trees. I don't follow other people's rules. I like to experiment. There's a blue lily pilly from Australia. The Australian indigenous fruit trees, like the cedar bay and the blue lily pilly, cedar bay cherry, which I love. The fruit, I have not tried the blue lily pilly fruit. They've shown to be like powerhouses of phytochemicals. So when you don't water and you don't use salt-based fertilizers and you don't use fungicides and you don't use herbicides that you grow naturally in a food forest system like this, your trees naturally produce higher quantities of phytochemicals, and that's what it's about. We don't spray copper. Copper is something you don't want to consume, so there's no way you'd want to drink fruit leaf teas if you've been spraying your tree with copper. Any copper, it doesn't matter if it's OMRI approved or not. OMRI approved, but you have to read the fine notes. It says you have to get permission to use if you are organic certified, but people don't read the fine print because it's a toxin. It's a heavy metal. Causes a trigger for cognitive decline, or it causes cognitive decline. It's a poison. So that's the Garcinia madruno. I have a guava. I have a lot of guava seedlings. I got a bunch of different types of trees from my friend Frank. And this is one of them. It's doing good. Seed grown. This is a seed grown ginberry. That was also a gift from my friend Frank. This is a taro root. Bananas, of course. And a chachairo and cassava, or no, cashew and banana and a jackfruit seedling. And then there's a purple forest guava, I think is what this is. Yep. And then this is the Thai ginger. We have a lot of ginger. I need to do another video on dividing ginger, torch ginger and stuff, but I haven't really been doing a lot of dividing and planting. I need to divide more bananas, but I really hate to divide my bananas. I probably should divide some of my turmeric while I know where it's at before the leaves completely dry off. So this is a Garcinia gardneriana, and it looks like it's getting ready to do a major bloom. I could see it's like getting nodes on it that's gonna bloom, and I'm sure it has fruit on it. I just don't see any right now. This tree always has fruit on it of some size. Right there's a little fruitlet, but it's getting ready to do a big bloom. I need to get a pile of my daily manure, my zebu manure, and put next to it along with this Braziliensis. And maybe not the male tree, but definitely the female Garcinia hambromiana. This is a black sapote tree. The black sapotes are not ripe here. This is the female Garcinia hambromiana. And this tree has not held fruit to maturity yet, but it only flowered one time for us 2 years ago after the 31 degrees. And then it didn't set fruit. And then last year during the drought, I think that probably if it had rained a lot last summer or last winter, not this winter, not this upcoming winter, but this past winter, 2023 winter, when we had a drought, it probably would have flowered again and possibly produced fruit. But this year, hopefully, will be the year that it holds fruit. I'm not sure if it's a perfect flower. It looks like it's a perfect flower, so I don't see any reason why it shouldn't hold fruit, even if it wasn't pollinated. Here's another black sapote. So people always want to like look at one thing, like, oh, apply gilberic acid, you know, for plant growth, or apply something to make the trees, mango trees, flower out of season, or plant nitrogen fixing plants next to your fruit trees because it'll make them grow crazy. So I have a lot of black sapotes. Well, I have enough black sapotes. I don't have a lot. I have like 9, I think. And not all of them are fruiting right now, but enough of them are that I'm okay with that. But there's two actually. There's a seedling tree, and then there's this tree. And planted right next to it is a nitrogen fixing tree. And this one is the smallest black sapote on our property, and it's the same age as the others. So the nitrogen fixing trees aren't necessarily alone going to fix your issues. You have to look at the whole systems approach. I do know that that was a highly compacted area, so was all this other spot, but it's a pretty similar spot to the rest of the area. So you have to plant all this other stuff or let the weeds go in there. So the weeds, these weeds, see how there's brown and green? So that's like mulch. That's like, if it's doing this above ground, it's doing it below ground. And it's also excreting sugars. Living microorganisms are living in the root zones of these plants. And that's how you get the environmental pressure response to get elicited in your fruit trees, is with the help of the microbiology. So if you don't have all these living roots in the ground, you're not going to have a lot of microbiology in the ground, and you're not going to be able to mineralize carbon, which is what happens when you have living roots. And it also keeps carbon in the ground in a sandy substrate, which we have here. Carbon's the hardest thing to keep in the ground, but this does it easily, and I didn't even have to plant it. So here's a mulberry tree. The only problem with this is people are so repulsed by this like totally wild growing system, that a lot of people just won't do it. And that's just because they've been conditioned for 500 years from mowed lawns. That's the only reason. And that's what they like, or they see it in Palm Beach everywhere, and they figured, oh, the rich people have it, that's what I want, you know. This is a cherry of the Rio Grande, a black one. It's so delicious. Unfortunately, it blooms when all the mangoes are fruits, when all the mangoes are fruiting. And last year I forgot to get the fruit off of it, and I saw it when the mangoes were fruiting, but I was so distracted with all the mangoes. Here's a mango that had froze when it was 31 degrees. Not all of our mangoes froze at 31 degrees, but about 20 of them had dieback. We have 250 grafted trees that did not freeze, that produce fruit. So this is black sapote, and then this is that heritage super sweet and juicy sugarcane. There's another mango here. There's a big guanacaste tree that's growing there. There's a giant achacha right here. Sapodilla. We just put all this stuff together. And that's why I kind of have to look around. I'm waiting for the mulberries to start fruiting. It should be fairly soon. They're looking good. There's a santal tree. I gotta go over to the lemon tree. In fact, I'm just gonna go this way. I'm gonna take a shortcut and cut through. I've been watching a lot of YouTube videos, not a lot, but a couple. They're kind of long, hour and a half, on nutrition and immunity, and by well-known PhDs. They're in my history. That's kind of what I watch. I don't really watch any gardening stuff. I really need to, but I don't. But a lot of it I just don't like. I just get so... they're just not enough to hold my interest. Most of the gardening shows that are on, and because I look for knowledge, and I've been like very curious about nutrition and immunity from plants, mostly from the phytochemicals and the nutrients in plant-based foods. And after I got sick recently, after I went on vacation and then got sick, I should look at this tree because this has a fruit on it that I wanted to see if it was ripe. I could see from here it's not. And then I couldn't figure out how to get rid of my hives, and they were like chronic hives from telling me I'm allergic to all these foods that I wasn't allergic to 3 weeks before. There's a Sri shampoo longan. It's looking quite nice. And all of a sudden I'm allergic to these foods after I ate like some American diet food, after I'd been eating clean, organic, vegan diet for so long. Whole food vegan diet, not processed vegan diet. And look at this acre tree. It's right here. Looks good. And then I came home and switched back to my, here's the acre tree, and there's a mango right there. There's that guanacaste tree. Those things grow so fast. Then there's bananas, of course. And there's a big guava right here that does have fruit on it, but it's not ripe right now. But the guava leaf is like a powerhouse of phytochemicals. Vitamin C, guava leaf tea. And you can get all a lot of the phytochemicals, because the leaves contain a lot of times more phytochemicals than the fruit. So not always, but they've shown in Garcinias and guava that they have a lot of phytochemicals. And since we are a Garcinia farm, there's another acre. That's why we started this farm, was for the acre trees. There's a little Adamoya seedling. There's some more bananas. The rabbits, little bunnies, they'll kill your favorite freaking tree. And one of my favorite trees is my little red Adamoya. It's looking good. I could see it from here. I don't need to go in there. Bananas. So the banana racks get small when you pull pups off of them. That's why this is a small rack. And it has a road right here, or a pathway, a road that I mow. So this is never a good spot to plant a tree right adjacent to a path. Further away from the path, the better. There's an egg fruit, rasapote seedling. I'll look in here. So I have a curry leaf tree, and a cashew and a mango that had froze 2 years ago. I don't include those mangoes that froze in my 250 mangoes that we have here, grafted mango trees, and then I don't even count my seedling mangoes. So we probably have 500 mangoes, 50 different flavors of mangoes, mostly top tier. I have some that I'm not crazy about, like Coggeshall and Lancettia, and I'm okay with Valencia Pride, but I think those are the two that I'm not crazy about that we have. And these are our black sapotes that have are trying to ripen, but Only one is ripened that I've found, so they're not quite there, but they're getting there. And there's the seedling black sapote, and it's getting quite kind of large, and that's like going to be 5 years probably in January. Probably because I planted it probably around this time of year because the fruit's ripening in the winter. So I know it's 5 years old, and it flowered for the first time this year. And you know, they don't get any water, but when I planted these black sapotes, they were the trees that struggled the most with drought. These were nursery grown trees, and they would like drop almost all their leaves when they were transforming to a drought or a non-water application system. So I just assumed that the water is probably polluted in Florida, since we have the dirtiest, most polluted lakes in the entire nation, and everyone sprays glyphosate and every type of weed killer that is known to man, and fungicides and organophosphates. Those are the things that are going to make bees go extinct. They're legal to spray here, and that's what they use on the Florida citrus because of greening. So we don't have a greening issue, and all of our trees are seed grown, and we get quite a bit of fruit off of our trees without ever being watered. So we don't have to worry about pollution, the forever chemicals, the fungicides, the herbicides, and the pesticides that are going to wind up in the water you use to grow your fruit trees, or from the forever chemicals and the synthetic carcinogens from UV protectants in the black plastic tubes, or the way that your water is distributed to your tree. Because I talked a lot about plastic in food, and my partner gets very depressed when I watch those shows, so I probably shouldn't talk so much about it. But people need to be aware that plastic pollution in food is a major problem. So we don't water with those things, so we don't have to worry about it. And then when you don't water your trees, your fruit gets sweeter. I mean, this is known information. There's a Miko lemon. There's a big achachiro tree. There's a cashew tree. Some more lemons. I pulled all the fruit off these because the birds really attack these trees and the fruit. And here's a mango, all summer mango. Here's a orange sherbet mango. I gotta make my way back to here's a Ingus spectabilis. It's an orange sherbet. There's a guanabana tree. And oh, I see a cashew in here that I hadn't seen before. So I do plant a lot of seeds from our fruit trees, because we are a seed source now of all these rare tropical fruit trees like cashew. So we got over 200 fruits that I planted the seeds from this year. This is a peach cobbler mango, which is one of my favorites. There's more of that really good sugar cane. There's a puteria species in here. It was a gift from my friend Frank. He gave me the fuzzy abiu, and he gave me this puteria. You know, it's an egg fruit family, canistel type fruit. I don't know what it is. He would know. I'll know when it fruits. I don't mark my trees, and I just don't want to be tempted to go in there and look at them. So, because we stay off the system, we follow the 5 soil health principles, and basically 2 we do not disturb the soil. So that keeps us from walking on the soil, it keeps us from mowing the weeds, and it keeps us from going in there and disturbing the soil just by walking through constantly. I go in there to harvest fruit and to plant seeds, or to remove pepper trees. This is a cordia. I walked right by cordia something. I forget the name of it. It's got beautiful leaves, silver on the back. They get bigger than this, and it supposedly has very nice flowers on it, and a medicinal fruit. I can't think of the name. It was another gift from my friend Frank and Annette. Thanks, guys. There's a achachiro. There's that turkey mulberry. Can you see it right there? And there's a little, there's a sapodilla there. There's some sweet potatoes in here, and I know I planted a bunch of different colored Eugenia, Calycina, and the other one. I think Calycina is the orange and the black. And I know Cherry of the Rio Grande is a different name. I don't know. They're Eugenias. I'm not a big Eugenia freak. I do have quite a few of them, but I don't even know where they're at, to be honest with you. I have never gone looking for them. Everyone else is into them, but I'm more into. I curated my collection by wanting dessert fruits, so that's why I have mangoes and bananas and sweet oranges and sweet tangerines and pomelos and no grapefruit and stuff like that. Achachiro. There's a seedling guanabana. It's another achachiros. A lot of our achachiros are getting quite large. So somebody wanted to know if I sold egg fruit mail order. We're really not there on a lot of our fruits to send mail order. Yeah, I could probably buy fruit and sell it, but I'm not that into fruit selling, but my partner is going to take that over. I'm not very good at it, and they're going to take it over and do mail order and do a website. But we really only do mail order for fruits that we have a lot of, and right now we've only had a lot of mangoes and a lot of MB fruit, but I'm pretty sure that bananas is going to be added to that list pretty soon. So we're going to do mail order bananas, but we're not there yet with them. This is a giant sweet ubije. And then I've been planting all the seeds for my egg fruit. So eventually we'll be there with the ras zapotes and the egg fruit, because we do have about, I don't know, 15 egg fruit trees, but they're not all producing. In fact, the ras zapotes haven't produced since it got down to 31 degrees, but one of them has fruit on it right now, so that's changing. And this is a seedling sugarloaf mango. There's a achachiro tree. And then I put a bunch of different things in here. There's that a second hermaphrodite MB tree that has fruited, but for some reason it had never held fruit. It's getting quite large. It should be holding fruit. I put some manure next to it, and it's got new growth on it. It looks much better. It's manure is mostly hay with a little manure and some pea. There's a Miko lemon, and here's some rose apples. There's some other stuff in here, bread nuts, and I see a little citrus right there. Here's the Noclia latifolia, the African peach. I think we're going to also have cacao to sell mail order, because we have over 100 cacao trees now. So achachiro might be the next fruit tree after bananas that we start selling mail order. Probably this year we might have a lot of achachiro, but I don't know until I see it. Here's that achachiro tree, and here's a Garcinia dulcis. Look at how healthy that looks. Very nice looking trees. And there's the Trinitoro cacao. I imagine cacao will follow the bananas, because these trees, I have another tree that's flowering of the Trinitoro cacao, but it didn't produce fruit this year, but I imagine next year it will have fruit. So they seem to produce a lot of fruit, and that'll probably be, there's quite a few of them. I could see all different sizes in here. I've started moving the cacao into different areas. There's a Trinitoro cacao again, And there's a big achachiro seedling. That's the improved Selecto from Raul in Mexico. You know, it's an improved variety picked from Bolivia, which is where the achachiro tree, it's the Bolivian mangosteen, originated from. And they grow them all indigenously, so they naturally farm achachiro. That's how it's been done for thousands of years. And they seem to do quite well. The bread nuts, I direct sowed 40 seeds, and they all seem to be coming up. I'm just amazed at the bread nuts. They're popping up everywhere. They don't seem to mind not getting any rain. Here's my Philodendron maximum, and my queen anthurium is getting a new leaf on it since I planted it here. I also have Philodendron yopii, which I planted in the ground, and it's looking great. It's got a new leaf, but this new leaf is coming out on the queen anthurium. I'm obsessed with, I need to put the regales in the ground because they obviously do better once they're put in the ground here, I found, rather than the pots. Here's the bread nut growing right next to this anthurium metallicum that I thought almost died, but it's got a new leaf on it, thank God. It was dying in the pot because I'm not good at watering. I hate watering, and I do water my potted anthuriums and my potted philodendrons, but with rainwater because I just don't want them to die. But they seem to be able to go longer and longer without waterings because I forget to water them, and then I come over here and I'm like, oh, I need to check them. And here's a Philodendron varicosum, and that's Philodendron tenue. No, that's not tenue. That's can't think of the name. Similar to tenue. This is Philodendron maximum. Here's the other leaves on those. This is Philodendron patriciae, and it would have liked some water. I know that. It looks like it wants some water. I put this king anthurium in the ground. It's doing good. But also in here I have all kinds of little trees. This is a little longan seedling, and there's a bread nut tree. They have the same leaves as breadfruit, so they're just going to be gorgeous when they're all blooming in here. And then I have Garcinia mangostana seedlings planted throughout this area, and they're looking good. Right there. I put it there so the rabbits couldn't get it, because the rabbits are thick through here. I saw them come out of this little hole, and then they like to go up and eat things. So I'm going to look at my durians, because the durians are doing great, and they've never been watered, and it hasn't rained here for like a week, I guess, again. And then when I planted them, it hadn't rained for 4 weeks, so I planted them. This is the one I did the video of, and it's only been a couple weeks that I planted how to plant durian, and it looks so healthy, and it's never been watered ever. And I see another bread nut tree right there. Here's another durian right here. I'm gonna plant a lot of durians because I see that they're very easy to grow. And I know people have trouble with them. This has been in the ground longer, but this is all new foliage. This is all new foliage. It looks great. And then there's another one over here. There's a little cacao seedling. That's a Criollo cacao. It's been in the ground for a little while. Here's a Criollo cacao. And here's another coffee tree, Arabica coffee. And these are little Criollo seedlings. There's 4 of them here, all planted adjacent to this coffee. There's another Criollo cacao. There's a durian over here. It looks really good. I gotta go look at it. So this is the first one I planted, and it definitely looks the healthiest. It's been in the ground the longest, and look at how nice that looks. Yeah, people have trouble with durian because they don't look at the soil for some reason. Nobody looks at the soil. There's a little Criollo cacao. So you can't really grow well if you're not looking at the soil. I just don't understand why people just, they have all these questions and nobody responds. Oh, well, you have a nutrient deficiency, or you need zinc, or you need micros, or you need all this stuff. And it's like, but nobody mentions soil, the soil. And in order to have healthy soil, you have to have living roots in it. That's how you tell if you have healthy soil. It's a little Criollo cacao. I see a fruit on this. Want to step in here without stepping on anything, because I do have a lot of stuff in here that is unmarked. Because once I see trees doing good, then I start putting other trees around it, and they all seem to do well. And this Garcinia intermedia is a Garcinia that I do not eat the flesh on. The leaves are highly medicinal, so I do make teas out of all the Garcinia leaves. This is a Talicia florescii, the Kolock. It's like a giant longan. Very good. We do have a Poulisson tree right here. It's doing good. Right next to that durian, a little cacao. Okay, I see a big, so everyone says that the mangosteens grow very slow here, but I've found here that the mangosteens grow very fast now. This is a little mangosteen seedling, Garcinia mangostana, direct sown seed, 10 inches tall in 3 months. Growing there. Here's a Keppel fruit tree. The more plants that you can get to grow in your system, there's a little Garcinia lindero seedling, the healthier and faster your other trees are going to grow. There's a Plinia edulis. There's a mangosteen, Monstera deliciosa cutting I did. They can take a while to get going. Here's another lindero. I had two here, but the rabbits got one of them. And there's a little cacao seedling I planted there. And I also saw a bread nut over here. There it is, right here. So Garcinias grow fast here now. I guess it's because we have so many of them, and we focused on soil health for all 8 years we've been here, and we apply small amounts of nitrogen fertilizers in the form of zebu, our miniature zebu manure, and hay. And there's a green sapote that's looking good, and that's never been watered. And I used to have trouble with the green sapote, planting them. I've killed several trees that I bought from nurseries because I just couldn't find the seeds. And so I will buy trees from nurseries like I did with the durian because I wanted to get them in the ground. And I thought I'd try green sapote one last time with my way of removing all the soil and rinsing the roots, and then planting it directly in there and not watering it, planting it directly into the weeds. And I did it during the drought, and this is the only green sapote that has ever looked so well. And it came from Lara Farms. I do like their conventionally grown fruit trees. I haven't had a problem with them adapting to natural growing conditions like I have with other people's fruit trees. That's a citrus. This is a citrus. A citrus grown in shade doesn't get any yellowing. This is a sweet orange, a blood orange, and this is a sweet orange. Quite excited. I should look at my philodendron spiritus sancti over here. I see it's got a new leaf on. I haven't watered this in a while. There's a little pomelo tree. I know I planted some bread nuts around here. I just can't see them. I'm trying to look for them while I'm over here. So here's a new leaf on the philodendron spiritus sancti. It's just growing out here. I got to put it in the ground. I think I'm going to put it in the ground. It's got gorgeous long leaves on it. This is the philodendron from Red Leaf Exotics, the seedling tree. The leaves got marks on them during the heat of the summer and being out here in the wind and stuff, but I'm gonna put it around that tree in the ground. Probably I should just put it where it's at, but I want a bunch of different nice aroids growing around the giant guanacaste tree there. And philodendron spiritus sancti is one of them I want over there, along with my queen warocquianum, or my anthurium warocquianum. And this tree looks very good. I seem to not get the leaf miner as bad, though this one does have a lot of leaf miner on them. I don't let that bother me. This is leaf miner when the leaves get all wrinkled up like that. This is a philodendron splendid, I believe, or glorious. I have philodendron splendid. I think that's it, but it just struggled for some reason. It's doing okay. It's got a bigger section on it. There's an achachiro tree, and there's other things in here. There's a little mango seedling I see there. I probably planted 400 mango seedlings this year. There's a torch ginger cutting I did from when I divided the torch ginger. That's the pink torch ginger. We also have a red torch ginger. There's a little cutting of philodendron soderoi, I think. There's an achachiro tree. The star apples are looking good. It's a Oscar's Giant Purple. That's Oscar's Giant Purple. This is a big Inga spectabilis tree, which I have garcinias planted next to, and I also have this gorgeous philodendron Jose Bueno top cutting I did planted next to it. And I also have DPI Gold Star Apple, and I want to go over to this this is a little the cutie tangerines, the little tiny ones, the seedless ones, but I found the seeds in it, and that's what that is. So I'm excited to see what that does. There's some achache arrow seedlings in here, but I'm trying to see them on the slide. I think there's one where that stake is. In fact, I know there is. There's a Inga spectabilis seedling here. This is a citron right here. Plumeria, of course, and this is that pink star apple that I see the rabbits are down below. That's what's been going on with it. I need to dump some manure on it. But this is a Black Beauty Black Sapote, and it is definitely one of my favorite, black sapote fruit I've eaten. There's that little seedling egg fruit tree, and it has a lot of fruit on it. This is our biggest tree. This was like the worst spot in the yard. It's right in front of the house. It was like a giant lawn pond. It actually killed my favorite jackfruit. Your favorite plants, my favorite plants anyway, always seem to be the ones that get attacked and killed. So I try not to have any favorites, but I can't help myself. I'm a plant hoarder like you guys, and I grow food, and we have food here year round. And it's because we have so many trees, thousands of trees, hundreds of species. There's a fruiting achachuro tree. Currently it does not have any flowers or fruit on it, but I put a daily manure next to it a while ago. It's already all eaten up. I wish I could put more next to it, but I get such a little amount of manure. This is a sapodilla. This is my favorite sapodilla that we grow here. But this tree, oh, it has fruit up there. Decided to just grow really tall finally. And I'm glad it did, because these other trees are getting quite large. This is probably our rarest tree on the farm. The Juicy Pearl Star Apple from Australia. Chrysophyllum argenteum auratum subspecies. We get passion fruit all the time, which I love passion fruit. I'm gonna look in this acre tree to see if it's doing any type of bloom. I don't see any bloom going on. I try to keep the vines off the trees. I don't like the vines on the trees. And this thing is really spreading out now, this acre. It got topped twice by hurricanes, hurricanes 2 years in a row, and it just topped it. So that's why otherwise it'd be a lot taller. But that's the reason why it's so short, which is kind of nice. This is a big Inga tree, Inga fuilii, that's got this Banisteriopsis capi vine growing on it. You know, they make DMT out of that for ayahuasca. I don't like that vine. I wish I hadn't planted it, but it's there. And hopefully it doesn't spread and choke out a bunch of other trees. I thought this tree had flowers on it. It does. And Inga is one of those trees that hasn't produced fruit for us yet. But we have so many of them that I know we're gonna get fruit eventually. They're seed grown. Stuff does take longer this far north because we're growing these in area that historically has not been an area where you could grow most of these tropicals like egg fruit, and especially where you couldn't grow cacao. But we're not, don't only grow it, but we grow it naturally without watering them. So it is possible. And I forgot to show the fruit on the cacao, but I did in the last video. So I'm gonna try to work my way back to I'm gonna pick that egg fruit today that you saw. It's so good. It's it's a grafted tree called Delightful. This is a quimac tree, and quimac has been one of my favorite fruits, top 3 favorite fruits. Used to be my favorite, but our mangoes have surpassed the quimac in being my favorite fruit. The top tier mangoes, they're just like blow my mind this past year, and I can't wait. So there's tons of stuff in here. There's Garcinia acuminata, there's achachiros, there's citrus, there's pomelos, there's Ranjapuri limes, there's sweet oranges, there's lemons, there is star fruit with fruit on it, I see. I'm gonna go over there. And see. There's some fruit, and there's some fruit here, and then it's got, I thought I saw flowers. This one doesn't have any flowers, but yeah, it does right there. So the star fruit, I like it, but we grow carrion tree, but it's not something that I love. We have a whole refrigerator full of it right now. So there's a pomelo. There's 2 big Inga spectabilis seedling trees. Well, bigger, getting bigger. I'm gonna try to leave these right here so I don't have to carry them around. Hopefully they will be here. So I put lots of heliconias with stuff. Heliconia is one of those plants that University of Florida tells you have to water like 3 times a week. But we've never watered any of them, and we have probably 100 plants growing everywhere. All divides and never been watered. This is a wax bamboo. This is a hog plum. That's chaya spinach. This is an M4 mango. I gave it some daily manure. Unfortunately, it's growing like within 100 feet of the septic. And so just out of sheer caution, we're not going to sell any of the fruit off these trees. We will sell the seeds, but because of septics are a known source of forever chemicals. So you wouldn't want your well next to the forever chemical or the septics, which is what they do here in Florida. They put the wells and the septics all within 100 feet of each other, and all on small lots, so everyone has them, and that's why we have such a problem. Here's that raw sapote that is fruiting. It's an Ingavera tree. This tree has been a great disappointment because it hasn't like given me any fruit, and it's huge, but it will. I'm not worried about it. And the Ingavera fruit, I don't want to say this in front of the tree. It's not really known for being the best fruit. I've had it before. I didn't really like it, but I have liked the other Inga fruit, so I know it's just that. Look at all the fruit on this jackfruit tree, and it's still freaking doing it. And they're getting kind of close. These are a small, crunchy yellow type of jackfruit, and it's like got fruit everywhere. There's definitely more than 20 fruit on it, and it's still flowering, all without being watered. There's a sugar apple. There's some Ras Zapotes over here. We had our biggest, there's a Ras Zapote right here. This one was our largest egg fruit tree, and then the freeze hit, and it used to produce, it's a Ras Zapote, and it used to produce fruit all the time. And since the freeze, it killed half of it. That's what this happened here. It was like a lot bigger than that, but we haven't had any frost since then. This is a Silas Wood Sapodilla, which is just loaded in fruit. We've got quite a few sapodillas. There's a sugarloaf mango that's got a lot of fruit on it, or flowers on it. I have seen fruit on my mango trees, so they're coming. This is a producing Quaimuk tree. This is a grafted tree. It got large this year. All of a sudden it got large, I noticed. And I'm gonna chop down that pepper tree, but I wanna do it when the wood ducks aren't in the swamp behind it. There's a lot of flowers and fruit on this Venus mango. I love Venus mangoes. There's another Ras Zapote. There's the swamp. Full of quicksand, scary place. Okay, I should have went and looked at the tamarinds. We have a pink sweet tamarind that I gave a bunch of manure to, and it's produced fruit for the last 3 years, and I gave a bunch of daily manure to, and it doubled in size, the tree. It had never done that. There's our lychee trees. There's a mango, all summer mango. No, that's a Terrelay mango. This is a sugarloaf mango. This is more lychees. There's a huge santal tree right there. That's one of those trees that they say is ultra tropical, but I haven't noticed that. There's our lychee trees. They're getting kind of big. We do get lychee fruit, but the birds always seem to get every last fruit if I don't get them in time, and it seems like I always miss. So here's a seedling jackfruit. Here's a big cashew tree. It doesn't look that big, but it is very big. It's very sprawling, and it's produced a lot of fruit. Here's a white sapote, and I wanted to see if it was flowering, because it usually starts to send out blooms right now, and it's not. It's taking a rest, but you could see it's growing, and I see a lot of little seedlings underneath it now. This is going to be a major mango or cashew farm. I love cashew fruit. The juice is to die for. It's so delicious and nutritious, and the leaves are spectacular for making fruit leaf teas. Here's another one of our Miko lemons. We don't get greening issues, really. We don't. Definitely it doesn't affect fruit set. These I pulled all the fruit off because the birds got them, because the birds like to get the cashew fruit. So the cashew's way over there. There's another Ras Zapote seedling. Here's a Miko lemon. There's a Valkyrie mango. Here's another lychee. Having this fruit farm, this multi-species fruit farm that produces fruit for us every day year-round now, and provides leaves, which are packed with phytochemicals, which we make tea out of, has just really, it's been a blessing. It's like I was led here to do this for my health. And just after I came back and got those hives, and I was told you had to live with them. We could give you pills, we could give you prednisone, we could give you antihistamines, It was all pills to disguise the itching or to alleviate the itching, and it just was like having poison oak over my whole body. It was just the worst. And when I had my aha moment and realized this, so this is where it starts with the mangoes, but we also have lots of cashew trees back here, seedlings, and achacha seedlings, and MB seedlings, and mango seedlings, and I see a new cashew seedling popping up right here that I hadn't seen. And so this is where I put all my little seeds that I don't sell. There's a cashew right there. So this is a lemon zest mango. So I had an aha moment when my friend Frank, because he's a nurse and his wife's a nurse, said I should drink some antihistamine tea, some nettle tea, which is an antihistamine leaf. And I'm like, why aren't I drinking my multi-species leaves tea? So I went out, plucked a bunch of leaves. Like I said, I made a 47 leaf tea out of weeds, pine needles, one leaf of each. And I've never gotten sick off any of our leaf teas, multi-species. There's a cotton candy mango. I'm working my way over to the Adamoya, and I'm going to wind this video up. So when he said that about the leaf tea, I went out and I picked a bunch of leaves and made tea and drank it, and the itching stopped within an hour. I'm not saying that's what did it, and I'm not a medical doctor, but I really feel like I was put here to on the spot for my health in my old age, and to share the message of regenerative agriculture and how we do it and how it's done in Florida, and how easy it is. And I'm in my 60s, my partner's in my 60s, and it's not a maintenance nightmare. The only thing I don't like is sowing fruit. All the other aspects about it are easy, because we don't totally terrorize our soil by mowing and compacting it. It takes a lot of work out of the farm. And since we don't have to water or upkeep water tubes and stuff like that, it takes a lot of stress out of making sure all the sprinklers are working on each and every tree. So just by that, it just alleviates so much stress. Not being biodynamic certified anymore alleviated stress. Not being organic certified anymore alleviated stress. I'm glad I did it. I see my fruit has been taken off the tree. I didn't come out here in time. Oh no, there's one. Not ready yet, but they're getting big, but I think there were more on here. So probably one fell off. I didn't come out here in time. Not very big, but it's a late season Adamoya. And you know what? I want this fruit, and I know that one must have fallen off, so I'm just gonna pick it so I can get the seeds, because it's big enough. So not having all that stress from non-stop maintenance, not having to do chop and drop. You notice we don't have any tithonia. A lot of people wonder why I leave these weeds and stuff, because those weeds help me. I don't have to plant tithonia and then chop and drop it. And these weeds stay the right height and then die back every winter, so that the fruit trees can outgrow them quickly. And then I don't have a maintenance nightmare of having to chop and drop all this stuff. And when you chop and drop, you're disturbing the soil. There's a couple more. I thought there was like 5 fruit on here, but I see, looks like birds have been pecking at this one. That's probably what happened to the other one. I know there was more fruit on here, so I just didn't come back here in time. So just this natural system that nature provided, I borrowed from indigenous farming. It shows me, it makes me look, and when I see something like this, when all these weeds and stuff are growing together, I know it's got a biodiverse orchard floor, and it's just so healthy even during drought. So I know that if I just incise my tropical fruit trees, tiny little fruit trees, like 2 inches tall, or put seeds into the in it, then I know that the fruit tree is going to survive. Yes, it can get smothered, but the beauty of planting seeds is you really don't have to worry about if one or two die and the rabbits get one or two. And since we're our own seed source, I definitely don't have to worry about not having enough fruit trees. But what I do remove and go into the system to remove are pepper trees. Because like Tittonia, to me, I've had Tittonia before, my first food forest, and it just was a maintenance nightmare for me. I just didn't keep up on it. Nothing would grow in there. It just turned into a monocrop mess. So that's why I don't have it. So I'm cautious about planting certain things, and this does the same thing. Only it does it better because it's a lot more diverse. Anyway, that's it for my video of the day. I hope everyone had an excellent Thanksgiving, and I hope that you're growing health for health, and you're growing for Florida's health. And I hope you have an excellent day.